Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome, Betty and the team. I am excited. I am really excited to be here. I see it's still a small group. People are still joining. So that's okay because as and when we are starting, we are going to start with introductions. So at least by the time we get into the meat of my presentation today, everyone would have joined. So team, what I'm going to do is that I am going to bring up my slides so that they guide our discussion for today. But overall, I am so excited because this is what we are all about at No-Valo. We are all about study skills. We are all about work readiness and equipping people like you for the workplace. So let's get into it. For our discussion for today, the main thing is our quote for the day, right? I want to bring about the quote that is going to anchor our discussion for today. So the quote that I thought would be fitting for our discussion today is, "Indecision is the greatest thief of opportunity." And the reason why I thought this would be the best quote for our session today is because when you leave this session, I want you to think about the type of decisions you have to make so that you are considered to be an ideal candidate. And when you get into the workplace, you can also shine, right? So I'll keep on reminding you throughout the session that at the end, we all have to make the decisions so that we can achieve what we need to achieve. So team, when it comes to our agenda or our journey together for the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes, that's what they said I have. This is what it's going to look like. So for section 1, this is where I want us to just pause and define what does success really look like, because we are all investing about an hour towards this session. So by the time we leave here, we want that we have achieved exactly what we wanted to achieve. And then throughout that session, I'll also try to tell you about my journey and also get to know more about who is in the room. And then the second section, I would like to share more about our No-Valo Ideal Candidate Framework. So this is the framework that we use to train the interns, the graduates, the trainees that we work with on our e-learning platform and on our programs. And then lastly, because within the framework, there will be tips, but then because those tips, you'll get to implement them as and when you get to them. So lastly, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give you 3 tips that after this session, you can go ahead and already implement them so that you are ready for the workplace. So this is our agenda for the day. And I would love to know if the chats are open. I would love to know when you guys saw the poster and you saw what was coming up, is this what you were expecting? Is there anything at all that maybe you were looking forward to for this session? Because if there is anything that maybe I have missed, then I would really, really like for you to already tell me in the chat so that I can prepare myself to already share more on that. Betty has already introduced me. But then I really just wanted to emphasize the fact that actually last week I was at Verds, and it's so funny how it's been 10 years ever since I got my CTA, which is crazy, which is really, really crazy because now I've been working for almost 10 years, which is insane, right? So I wanted to take you through the journey that when it comes to my presentation for today and the insights that I'll be sharing today, it's not only random tips, but all of these insights, I will be using the insights that I know for sure will help you, because I'll be wearing my hat of when I left VETS in 2014 and I started working as a trainee. What are some of the things that I wish I knew, right? So I'll be giving you tips around that. And then also I'll be sharing insights that have to do with when I was on the other side and I was a manager and I was sitting in interviews and, we're accepting the young people to actually work with us in the audit firm. What are some of the things that I saw that can help you? And then lastly, I will also be wearing my hat as a No-Valo representative because we do this literally every day. We are always working with young people like you. We are always doing work readiness training. So I'll be wearing that hat as a trainer from No-Valo, looking into what are some of the things that we've noticed and what are some of the insights that can help you. And last but certainly not least as well, because now I am a business owner and an employer, and I'm always employing people at No-Valo, especially the young people, I will also share some insights on what are some of the things that I'm seeing here and what can help you. So that's me. That is my journey throughout, and the hats that I'll be wearing throughout our discussion. So now I would like to know who is in the room. I still don't see the chats, which is worrying. I would love to know, where can I find the chats, team? Is there anywhere? Will they pop somewhere on my screen? Because I would like to know who is in the room and what are they looking forward to in this session.
Yeah, I'm trying also to check if I can. I still don't have access on my side. Nombuso, can you please try from your side or working?
Okay, I'm trying on my side. Let me see. Okay, it's saying we're having trouble loading your messages. That's what it says.
I
If I
see.
click on the chats.
The chats are not open yet. Let me speak to working.
Okay, no, that's okay. So whilst you are sorting out the chat, will people be able to unmute if maybe I can just hear from them whilst the chat is being sorted out?
100%. I think that's
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So from our attendees, who would like to unmute and just tell me, who are you and what are you looking forward to from today's session? Why did you make time for today's session? I'm not sure where to see hands, but I've tried to look into the people. Okay, I can see the people here. Anyone? Let me see. We have. Oh, we have a hand. Yay! No, that's Nombuso. Isn't Nombuso part of the team?
Wanted to break the ice because I see. Okay, there's
Nadine
Nandile.
is
Let me just.
here.
Okay, you can.
Nadine is my girl. Okay, Nadine, come through. What are you mainly looking forward to, and which stage are you in your life currently?
Hi, Zanella. Thank you for the opportunity. I guess I'm looking for, or currently where I'm currently studying with UNISA. So I'm finishing off some of my third year modules in accounting. And also, I started my articles with a medium-sized firm. So what I'm looking forward to is the hat that you're wearing now that once you've transitioned into articles and how you juggled all of that. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Then you are in the right place. I can take another hand. Annelisa. Yes, Annelisa, come through.
Well, thank you very much for acknowledging me. So I'm currently doing my third year. So it's my first year in the third year, but I've got two more modules remaining to complete next year. So at work, actually, so I took a few minutes to join the session. So I'm actually currently working as a service consultant, but I wish to transition and become a CASA eventually. So I just want to gain more insight as to what is it that I need to do, considering that I'm close to my to the finish line, and what are the things that I should consider, and how could I transition from my current role and into a training program? Where do we look, and so forth? Yes. So that's it from me for now.
Oh, thank you very much, Annelisa, because it's not necessarily part of my presentation, the specific things that have to do with transition. But at the end, I think when we get into Q&A, if there's something that I can share there, definitely I will share if there's anything that's more specific to transitioning when it comes to
All right.
training programs. But hopefully, when it comes to being a job seeker and work readiness, these insights will also help with that because yes, the training space is quite different when it comes to the CA training. So yeah, thank you very much, Annelisa. I
Thank
don't
you very much.
Awesome. And thank you for taking time, even though you're at work. It shows that you take your development very seriously, which is what we need. Okay, team. So I'm going to then go ahead with my slides because now I know what Nadine wants and what Annalisa wants. I don't know what everyone else wants, but as and when we get the chats ready, then we can actually talk about that. Okay, so. So let's define what success is going to look like. So success would be, addressing what Nadine said, what Annalisa has said, but also just to encompass everything. How I also see what success looking like at the end of our session is that, one, we have to know what does the ideal candidate framework look like. Two, how to position ourselves as a job seeker. And then number three, how do we best get ready for the workplace, especially the people who've never been in the workplace. Currently, Nadine as well as Annalisa have been in the workplace already. So if you've never been in the workplace, these are some of the things that can help you. And then lastly, as I did mention, those practical tips. So this is what success will look like. So just to also kick us off, our work readiness framework that I've been talking about, we are finally getting to it. So how we see work readiness at No-Valo is that we know that in order for you to be deemed an ideal candidate, you have to be a well-positioned job seeker and you have to be ready to work. And it's so weird how most people are already expecting you to be a well-positioned job seeker, but no one tells you how to become a well-positioned job seeker in an exhaustive list so that you can say, okay, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, then definitely I am a well-positioned job seeker. And also, we talk about work readiness and we talk about how most people are not ready for the workplace, but we never really isolate what are the skills that are really needed so that you can be ready for the workplace. So we'll be breaking that down and feel free to take pictures of my slides. And later on, I can also email these to Betty so that she can distribute to you guys, because I really do think it will be helpful. So let's start with well-positioned job seeker. What are the characteristics of a well-positioned job seeker? I want to hear from you guys. Anyone? I'll go back into that page where I can see the hands, hopefully. Let me see if I can be able to see the hands. So I would like for someone to raise their hand and unmute and tell me, what do you think makes you a well-prepared job seeker, well-prepared, well-positioned job seeker? Any hands? This is an interactive session, team. I'm not more of like a speech person. I'm more of an active learner type of person, because that's how we get to know how it relates to us and be able to really implement. Yay! Another hand from Katleho Shelly. Yes, Katleho, please come through.
Hi. I think to prepare yourself to be a well-positioned job seeker is doing your research about, let's say, the type of job that you want to get. I think just do your research and also the type of companies that you want to work for. Do your research on that.
Love it. Love, 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 love. Thank you for that, Katleho. Yes, Sizwe?
Yes, I think you must have the technical competence of the job that you are seeking for.
Love that. I love the technical. What about the soft side as well, Sizwe?
I think that will also be incorporated to the overall technical competence of an individual.
I agree. Thank you very much for that, Sizwe. And then lastly, let's go to Mtokozisi.
Okay, on my side, I think it's to be able to match that job description within yourself. Just like to know what are the requirements for the job, and then you look for yourself, you look for your CV, and then be able to indicate that strong points among yourself.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed, Ntogozisi. Thank you, team. I think definitely what you just said now is what's on my next slide. But then on my next slide, it's summarized so that you can have more of like a checklist so that you can keep on checking whether you are ticking all of those boxes and you have all of that ready. So let's get into the next slide and let's talk about, I think someone needs to be muted. But then yeah, team, you can look into who needs to be muted there. So let's get into this next slide. So how we look into the best job seeker characteristics at No-Valo is that these 5 things have to be ready. So there's a difference between a job seeker and a person that has already started the job, right? So this is what we are saying. In order for you to get the interview and actually secure the job, these are the 5 things that have to be present. So team, I'm going to briefly explain them, but then I'm not going to give you the how-to for everything, mainly because at No-Valo, when we are presenting this module on job seeking, usually it takes about 6 weeks to teach all of these 5 things. Right? So what I'll say to you is that as I'm briefly explaining, if something comes to mind and you would like to know more about it in the Q&A session or as and when we go, please do ask the question because I can definitely give you more. It's just that we can't fit it within our 45 minutes to an hour. So these are the 5 things, right? So firstly, from what Ntogozisi was saying now as well, you need to have a clear career planning and job seeking strategy. And then number 2, you have to have a well-defined personal brand. And the reason for this is mainly because of the fact that your employer is looking for you, but then you are also looking for the employer. And when it's a match, we both know that it is a match, right? So that means you should already be able to articulate what you are bringing so that it's clear and it's quicker to see that we are a match. And then number 3, from what Caesar was saying as well, you have to have an aligned CV as well as LinkedIn, right? Because that is what steps into the room before you even step into the room. And then here, I also want you to consider AI considerations, right? Because now people are using ATS and there are all of these other things that have to do with AI that is making the recruiters' jobs easier. So now, as and when you are looking into your CV, as and when you're looking into your LinkedIn, are you making those considerations? Number 4, of which I've realized that it's not everyone that has this. Number 4 is a living job application tracker. So most of the times other people will just be sending CVs and hoping that someone is going to come back to them. But then I would like you to actually have a spreadsheet where literally you have all of those companies and you are tracking where you are with everything, who has responded, how many days before they respond. You have to have a clear living job application tracker, right? So that you're on top of it and you can see that, oh, if I apply for 50 jobs, I get 1 response. So that means every week, if I want to get 3 responses, I have to apply for 150 jobs. And then last but not least, which is what you already know, you always have to be interview ready. It's not about only getting ready the day before, but now the moment you're saying, I am a job seeker, then this is where you should actually be empowering yourself with all the knowledge you need so that you can be interview ready. So this is just high level because I'm going to give you more when we get into practical tips and I want to stick with the time. So if you have any questions here on the best job seeker characteristics, I'm happy for you to raise your hand and I can tackle them. What are your thoughts on what I just introduced? Yes, Patson, you can come through.
Hello?
I can hear you, Patson.
Yes, how are you? So I'd like to ask, do you know of a website or of how we should align our CVs? Because currently I have a 2-page CV and I hear most people saying, try summarize it into a 1-page CV, not into a 2-page. And which are those ATS scores we should look into?
Definitely. So, not to self-promote, but at No-Valo Learning Center, we do have literally a module that has all of that, that even has like the key things that you need to have on the CV. And when it comes to ATS and the referencing, what are the key things that you have to do? I mean, when it comes to other websites, you do have different apps and everything else. So what I can do after this for the group that is here, and I can engage with Betty as well, what I can do is that I can see based on the type of questions that we have from here, I can ask the team next week to move out maybe about 2 or 3 modules that I see as hot topics here, and then put them on the side. And then the people who are in this group, we can grant them access to that. So you can be granted to that module so that it can help you as well. So that's what we can do for you, Patson, in terms of the platform that will help you.
Okay. Yes,
Yes.
I appreciate. Oh, sorry about that. It's my first time attending. I didn't mean to provoke you. I'm still new.
No, that's okay. I love adding value, and as long as you tell me how I can add value, then it helps. So definitely we'll do that with Betty, so that at least you can be exposed to the right way of doing that. Then you can be a lot more confident with what you are putting there. Because I agree, 2 pages sometimes. It depends on the type of experience you have and how you put it. But yeah, let's do that. Yes, Sizwe?
Thank you.
Yes. How do I create a personal brand that is going to attract the employers? Concerning to bullet number 2, what is this outlook that I must have?
I like that, right? The reason I love that question so much is because the way you phrased it, you said, how do you create the personal brand to attract the employers? And what I would like to challenge there is that maybe sometimes it's not really about the creation of the personal brand, but rather thinking about the characteristics that you already have and knowing the ones that you have to bring about, and they have to be out there, and the people who are looking for you have to know that you are that person. So how I'm going to answer that question, Sizwe, is that number one, it starts with you know, that job seeking strategy that we spoke about. That job seeking strategy, it mainly starts with you knowing what are your values, what are your strengths, what is the type of employer you would like to attract. And when you attract that employer, what are you offering to that employer, right? What are your technical skills? What are the soft skills? What are all of these things that you have gathered along the way? And what is the employer? Who is the employer that would appreciate that and be able to give you the opportunity? Once you have crafted that and you say, these are my strengths, this is what I'm bringing, and this type of employer would appreciate it, then now it's all about how are these employers going to come across my personal brand? And how they will come across your personal brand 9 out of the 10 times is through social media, specifically LinkedIn. Right? So this is where you then now say, okay, when it comes to my LinkedIn and how I engaged on LinkedIn, am I known for those strengths, characteristics, and values that I outlined, that this will definitely attract the type of employer that I'm looking for? So yes, that's where it starts. You don't try to create someone who's new. We want you. We definitely want you, Caesar. We don't want your replacement. But literally try to communicate that over LinkedIn. Is that clear, Caesar?
Yes, it's clear. Thanks.
Amazing. Okay, team, I'm loving this. I like the fact that people are actually participating, and we are on the same page in terms of why we are here. So the next question that I'm going to ask you then, which is, because remember, we said today we are talking about how to become an ideal candidate, and that is 2 things. You have to be a well-prepared job seeker, and you have to be work ready. Earlier on, already I think Caesar was speaking about the technical skills, but I want to know, beyond the technical skills, what are the skills that you need so that you can be deemed ready for the workplace? I'm taking hands again, team. Any thoughts? Usually there are no right or wrong answers in this. It's all about how you see it, hey? No, Caesar, we can't. No, Caesar, let's give other people a chance. But then, if no one else is coming through, I will take Caesar's hand. Can I get someone else to tell us what are their thoughts on that? Yes, Sipati. Yes, Sipati, come through. Are you unmuted?
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm muting my mic. Hi, everyone. So I'm thinking, because I was doing an application for the internship, and they asked if I do have like skills like innovative skills. Like now everyone is just like moving digital, like with AI and stuff. Am I like have skills in programming and stuff? Like I'm thinking things along those lines, like being innovative and being like tech savvy, being able to do, I don't know, but like around those lines.
Definitely, definitely. I love that. I love that. Thank you very much for that, Sipati. Really, really do love that. Koketso, yes, you can come through.
Hi everyone. I think communication skills and time management.
Love that as well. Koketso, Sipati, you are spot on. Sizo, do you want to add anything to what Koketso and Sipati said?
Yes, I'm not sure, Zanella, whether emotional intelligence is also a skill. If it is, I think it's very crucial for us. So a person may not be too sensitive in a workplace because we meet different characters. Yeah, I would pack
For
that.
sure. For sure, for sure. You are all spot on. You are definitely all spot on. So, team, as we head over to our next slide, and I'm sharing with you the 5 skills or characteristics or considerations when it comes to you being work ready, I want you to consider the fact that what I'll be showing you now is more of the overall, regardless of the year you are in, these ones will always be required, right? But when it comes to what Sipati was saying earlier on, as well as what Koketso and what Siso is saying now, what I want you to also write down in your notes, I hope you all have notepads so you can write on your phone. The World Economic Forum is always publishing a report on the top skills to look forward to in the near future. So these top skills always change year on year. Okay, they're the ones that are always there, like, problem solving and critical thinking and whatnot. But then these skills, they're always doing this report and doing the survey so that they can keep on updating these skills every year. So if you want to know when it comes to the tech, the AI, everything else, how it changes year on year, do yourself a favor and always read that report from the World Economic Forum, right? But then the ones that I'm going to share with you within the next slide, this is regardless of which year it is, this will always be present. You always need this as a human being. So these are the 5 that I would really love you to either take a screenshot or, take a picture of this, because you need to know how to even explain in the interview how you can do all of this, right? And Betty and Tim, also tell me if I'm running out of time, because remember, I'm not doing it as like a speech, it's engagement. So if you feel like I'm taking too long, please let me know and then I will speed it up. So, team, these are the 5 things, right? Number 1, you have to understand yourself as well as the workplace. And the reason I'm saying this is to the point of what Caesar was saying now. Yes, you need to understand the emotions, which has to do with number 2. But then at the same time, sometimes there isn't this deep appreciation of the fact that we are all different, right? As a human being, you have different values and you're going to meet different people in the work environment with different values and who are from different races and different cultures as well. So you really have to have that deep sense of understanding yourself as well as the workplace. And by workplace, I mean that in this age of social media, so many people think work is something else. And I'm saying this from the perspective of an employer. For some reason, people see people posting about their roles and they have this perception of what work has to be. but sometimes it's not really that. So really get an understanding of what a workplace is. And in essence, remember, you are walking into a business, and a business is trying to make the customers happy, make money, make sure everyone is working together. So having that appreciation can go a long way. Number two, need to know how to manage and lead yourself. So many people complain about micromanagement, but if you know how to lead yourself, this is something that most of the times the managers don't have to do, because you know how to lead yourself. And managing yourself is all about being able to manage your emotions and all these other things as well. Number three, you have to be in a position whereby you can work with other people, and you have to have what I call your team of three. I'm going to leave that there, because in my practical tips, I'm going to expand on it, because this is literally a non-negotiable. Working with others, a key thing, right? Because how you relate to your family and friends is not necessarily how you will relate to people in the workplace, because there is this whole thing of professionalism, and sometimes it requires you to actually have a bit of tact. So those are the things that you have to look into. And then number four, you need to know how to manage your own work, right? And already you're managing your studies, you're managing your family, you're managing your friendships. You already have that skill. So when you get there, it's one of those things whereby you shouldn't really undermine what you've done in the past as well, because you can manage your own work. And then lastly, you always have to show up. And the reason I'm saying showing up, it's either aesthetically, so many people talk about it. If you are going into an audit environment, everyone is expecting you to show up, in professional wear. And also being in a position whereby your team knows, your manager knows, your supervisor knows that they can always count on you. So in that sense, so these are overall the 5 things that, when you feel like, what, I think I have a sense of how I can do this, then I know for sure you are ready for the workplace. Because the technical things, guess what? You'll always have continuing professional development, and you can always learn those. But this is literally that key foundation that you need. So yeah, that's us team. But then also by just looking at the time as well, I'm not going to ask for contributions here. I'll ask for contributions once I have shared the top 3 tips, so that we can wrap this thing up. So let's go to our top 3 tips. And in the top 3 tips, I want to really spend some time talking about number 3, which is really knowing how to work with others and having your team of 3, because that's literally, if I knew this before I started working, oh my goodness, I think my career would have been far, right? So that's what I really want to spend some time sharing. So the 3 practical tips that I really want you to take notes on, because yes, I do have the slides. Yes, I do have, the keywords here, but if maybe you are distracted with something there in the background, try to really now focus, because straight after this session, I want you to sit down and be able to do these 3 things, so that you can be able to position yourself and also be ready for the workplace. I'll be saying a lot more than what is on the slide, so please do lend me your ears. So number 1, we'll talk about before the interview, what is that one thing of which I've already spoken about, that it's a non-negotiable. And then number 2, when it comes to the nailing of the interview, what is the core thing that I've seen when it comes to the candidates that we work with, the candidates that I interview, across the board, regardless of the discipline, what is that one thing that one has to have so that they can really nail the interview? And then practical step number 3 is, when you start working, also, what is that one thing that can really, that can really separate you, or not really shine, but rather, so that you stick out from the rest when you start working. What is that one thing that you have to know? So that's what I'll be sharing, team. And if you are having any questions, you will let me know. I'm happy to elaborate, as I did say. So this one I'll touch on, because already someone did ask a question earlier on. But as I did say, you can't really be in the market without having a clear job seeking strategy. So I'm going to leave it here because I already explained what it entails. You have to outline your values, your strengths, and know which employers you're looking for. And just know, because whenever you are being random with applying for jobs, random doesn't yield results, right? So a job seeking strategy is so that you have a clear strategy of what is the start, what is the end, and how do I continuously track whether I am succeeding when it comes to applying for the jobs or even passing those interviews, right? And then the second one, which is what I've seen with so many students as well as the professionals that we interview as well, is that the people who stand out are the people who've been able to earn good references, and they're able to also keep the records. I see my K just got lost there. But the people who are able to earn good references and keep records, that's literally the best thing you can ever do for yourself. And the reason I'm saying this is the best thing you can ever do for yourself is because, team, in order for you to nail any type of interview, let's say they are calling everyone who has an internal audit degree, you have all done the same thing. You've literally done the same thing at UNISA, or whether you did it at UCT or at UJ or wherever you did it, you've done the same thing, right? So the difference between what you know and what everyone else knows is literally you being able to explain the type of experience that you've had and how it applies to this job. So that's why it's important now, if you haven't started working, and the good references from either the lectures you are working with, or either the work that you're doing at church, or either anything extra. Try to make sure that you have good references that can show that actually I'm a good team player. Actually, I'm a great team leader. I am all of these things. And what I've seen in interviews is that other people even think about leadership as something that, oh, I have to run a mentorship program like Betty. No, leadership is not that. Like, leadership can literally be you leading your 3 other siblings. But you have to take stock and, be able to walk the interviewer through the journey where you say, we were planning my mom's 50th birthday, and then my siblings disappeared, and this is how I stepped into a leadership role, and I was able to use communication, use this, all of those things. So try to really end those good references and always keep track. Like, even when you're doing something within any other space and someone sends you an email saying, well done, I appreciate this, or even a WhatsApp, take a screen grab, put it on the side, because you need to have that entire case on your cloud that really showcases what you've been able to do, because this is what separates literally almost everyone. Yes, the marks matter, but then you being able to demonstrate all of these skills is really, really important. And this usually happens when it comes to your behavioral side of the interview. So that's number 2. Now let's go to the last one, team. When it comes to the last practical step that I'm going to give you for our session today, firstly, yes, I said you really have to know. Actually, someone said it. I think it's Kokezo, who said you need to know how to communicate, right? Definitely, you need to know how to communicate, because in the workplace, 99% of the times when something is going wrong, it's mainly because of the fact that a person didn't communicate. The person already knew 2 weeks in advance that, no, I won't be able to meet this deadline. But guess what? They were like, no, everything is fine. And then the manager kept on asking, are you sure? Do you need help? No, everything is fine. So definitely communication in the workplace is literally that skill that you need, and not being afraid to always ask questions. Because most of the times, especially us who are from the audit background or the accounting background, most of the times we get into the workplace and we have this whole thing whereby we feel like we should already know what we are doing. We should already be perfect with certain things, and then we don't ask questions. So to wrap this all up, I kept on saying you have to have your team of 3. What does this mean? And this is the time, because we are concluding with this. If maybe you're even far from your laptop, I want you to push your laptop closer. I want you to take your notebook, because you need to have this. Literally, like by Monday, I want you to already have your team of 3 now, because this team of 3 is going to help you now. It's going to help you as you are seeking for the job. It's going to help you even if you already have the job now. It's going to help you. It's going to help you even if, yes, you already have a job, but you are looking to be promoted. Your team of 3 is literally that glue. It's, if you need a catalyst, it's your team of 3. So the team of 3 is the 3 people that you can live your life without as a professional. And who are these 3 people? Number 1, you always have to have a mentor, and I'm glad you're part of this mentorship program because that is already a tick for you. Number 2, if the budget allows, or the employer can provide it, or you can build a relationship with one, try to get a coach, right? And by coach, I mean there are different coaches. It's either you can be in a space in your life where you mainly need a life coach because you are lost, or you mainly need a performance coach because you want to perform better, or you mainly need a career coach because you want to know how to navigate your career. But then spot which type of coach you need for the area that you are in your life. And if you can be able to even consume the knowledge from social media, from YouTube, from a coach, try to identify one. The coach doesn't have to be next to you because coaching can be pricey. And then the last one, which I've seen that most people don't really take into account, is sponsorship. So the third person that you always have to have is a sponsor. And what is a sponsor? A sponsor is literally a person who is influential and is the person who usually sits in rooms whereby whenever they say your name, whenever they mention you, whenever you want to do something, they have the ability to open up those opportunities and those doors for you. Right? Which is different because a mentor maybe has been exposed to what you want to do, and a coach will be mainly all about really refining certain aspects. But a sponsor is literally that type of person where you can say, actually, I'm looking to transition to this and this and this. Where can I get opportunities? And that person is the type of person who will be like, oh, I actually have a friend who's a director here. Let me call them, or, things like that, right? So these are the 3 people that you really, really need to do. And what I've realized, since this is part of ABASA, what I realized is that us as Black professionals, we do get a lot of mentors. And depending on the organization that you are in, then you can engage with coaches where if they do have a budget and they have trained coaches or managers who are also trained coaches. But then when it comes to sponsorship, most people are not really paying attention to which relationships am I building and are they really the type of relationships that can help open doors and open up all of those opportunities that I need. Right. So team, that is us. That was our discussion. I don't want to call it a presentation because it has been a discussion. So in closing, I'm going to say, remember our quote for the day: indecision is the greatest thief of opportunity. So as you leave this session, once we are done with our Q&A and everything, remember, decide when it comes to your job seeking strategy. Even remember, job seeking strategy, even if you're already working and you want to be promoted or transition, decide. Because if you haven't decided, from a mile away, as an employer, as a recruiter, you can smell it when someone just wants a job, right? So you have to be really clear and be able to articulate everything else. And also decide when it comes to, the type of people that you're going to have around. Gone are the days whereby, I'm just networking. No, we have to have a clear focus. The people I'm networking with, the people I'm reaching out with, will this be the type of person who's going to be a sponsor? And can I really get the opportunities that I need? So yeah, team, that is it from me. And I hope you stay fearless, as we always say at No-Valo. So I'm done. I think I'll stop sharing my slides and I'll bring it back to the team, Nombuso as well as Betty.
Thank you so much, Zanele. That was so insightful. Before we wrap up, is there anyone who has a question who I would like to ask? They can raise their hand and they will unmute. You don't have any questions. Wow, okay. There was okay, we have one person. Person, you can unmute and you can have your question.
Yes, I would like to ask how to be part of No-Valo.
That's a good question, Patson. So unfortunately at No-Valo, we don't work directly with students. We work with bursary funds and institutions, and it's only under them that we can work with their students. But then in the short term, how you will be part of No-Valo is that, as I did mention, for people who would like to be added on our e-learning platform, and based on these hot topic questions that I've had today, we will put you on the platform so that you can get like a mini work readiness course, so to say, that can help you. And that's the first step to being part of No-Valo, Patson.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Zanele. Is there anyone else who would have any questions? I guess Zanele did a great job. We don't have so much questions.
I don't know. You know what I'm thinking now, Betty? Last week, I was part of the Thirsty Thursday, of which
Yeah.
this group falls under the Thirsty Thursday because it's mainly internal auditors and all of these other people.
Yeah.
But there, we had so many questions, we even ran out of time because it was just too many questions. Right?
Too many
So now I'm
questions.
worried.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, did
You
I
did
not
you
prepare
great
well for
one.
this one?
No, you did great. You did great. Hey, I guess, okay, we have Nadine. Nadine, you can unmute and have your question.
Yeah, thank you, Zanele. I wanted to ask you, knowing what you know now, as after you've qualified and you've finished your CTA, you mentioned that it's been 10 years now for the CA route. What would you advise? What would you tell someone who is already in the journey and is, might be at a point of struggle? What would you say to the person knowing what you know now after having done corporate, leaving corporate, having your own business? Yeah. What would you advise such a person in the journey?
I love that, Nadine. I love such questions because I think other people forget that, my hourly rate is so expensive. So when you have some time, it's always nice to ask almost everything you want to ask. So everyone else, if maybe you also had anything else you wanted to ask, please do bring it about, even if it doesn't have to do with the presentation. So, Nadine, when it comes to this whole CA journey, I don't know if the answer that I'm going to give you is what you want to hear, but I'd say, especially from CTA, I'll keep on saying CTA was literally my best year ever because I feel like CTA was the first step I was tested on. Can you really be a chartered accountant? And that's when my character was literally tested beyond measure. That was literally the first time where I thought, no, like, there's no way I'm going to make it out of VIDS. There's no way I'll even ever start working because, like, CTA is just not going well. So I think from then up until now, what I wish I knew back then is that suffering is part of life. It's okay to suffer. And in order for us to grow in life, suffering is a critical element in order for us to be able to be twisted into being who we are meant to be. And what I mean by that is that, for example, in CTA, because I failed the entire year up until the last part of the exam, and then at least I got the subs and I was able to get through it. So I really wish I had the appreciation that it is the process that makes you, and that appreciation of the suffering where you can be able to go to the other side. And I honestly do think that if I had that appreciation, especially by like July, when I was in like CTA and things were being very, very bad, I would have been a lot more optimistic and I would have even pushed even way harder because I would have known that just because I keep on failing, just because everything is bad, it doesn't mean I won't make it. So that's the first thing, appreciation of suffering. And then beyond, like getting into the workplace, getting into the workplace, what I really, really wish I knew is that, I don't want us to be emotional, but I wish I knew that I was enough at every step. I was enough, because when you get into the workplace and when you get into that company that you really want to work for, there's a reason why you want to work for that company, because it is diverse, it has people who are stars, it has all of these things. But then that comes with what people always talk about, imposter syndrome, and doubting yourself and all of these other things. So I really wish that in my early years of starting to work, from first year, from second year, from final year, I would have appreciated that what I had at that point, it was enough. Because I only started gaining my confidence only at the end of second year. For the entire first year, literally, it's like I had this whole thing where I was like, oh my gosh, oh my God. It's like, I even felt like, oh, did I buy my degree at VES or was I there? Which is sad, but because I felt like I didn't know anything, and I wasn't comfortable enough to ask more questions when I didn't know. And I didn't appreciate the fact that as a trainee, as an intern, these first 2 to 3 years of you working, no one expects you to know anything. You are there to learn, and you have to be okay with it. You don't have to be a seasoned professional, because you are not one. That's why you are being paid peanuts, right? So that time when I was training, that's what I really wish I knew. And then when I was transitioning from qualifying to choosing my career, what I really, really wish I knew is that life is long, it sounds weird because we always say, oh, life is short because, other people die and whatnot. But I wish when I finished qualifying and I was choosing which route I want to take, I would have had the appreciation that life is long, because so many people, and now I speak to so many people who are in their last year and they're about to qualify. And I'm sure out of everyone that I speak to, 80% of them, they feel lost, because in our CA journey, everything is mapped out for you. I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to get CTA, and then I'm going to train. And then you pass APC and then you're like, oh, okay, now I'm an adult. What do I have to do? And then people overthink it. Oh my gosh, I have to know, do I want to do banking? Do I want to do So I wish I would have had the appreciation that life is long, and whichever decision I take is fine. I can always remedy it. So that's the main thing. And then lastly, or maybe second last. I know I'm saying a lot, but it's because you asked for each step. So the other part of my life, when I was working overseas, what I wish I had known before working overseas and whilst I was working overseas, what I wish I would have known is being more intentional with my relationship building. And that's why I don't like the word networking, because networking is, people see it as in like, oh, let's exchange numbers so that if I need to talk to you, I can talk to you. Like, networking introduces you to people, but what keeps you within the circle, what gets you the sponsor, what gets you the opportunity is intentional relationship building, right? And what do I mean by intentional relationship building, and how can you implement that earlier than when I implemented it? Intentional relationship building, meaning it means that with these people that you respect as well as your counterparts, be in a position whereby you want to build a relationship and give without expecting. That is intentional relationship building. So literally my best relationships are with those people that literally I went to them, but when I went to them, it was not about, hey, Sipati, please mentor me, or please be this for me, or please be this for me. No. The best relationships that I've gotten is the relationships where I've gotten to a person and I'm like, oh, hi, Miss So-and-so. I see you have an NPO. If you need anyone, even if it means helping with handing out the food, or even if you need someone to pick up the papers afterwards, I'm your girl, call me, right? Even with the roles that I've had at Psycha, like the whole vice president and all of these things, the reason most of the times I got those roles is because I'd get there like at the event like an hour early, and then people who are organizing everything, I'd say, okay, just tell me, what do I have to do? And then they'll say, oh, okay, put these brochures there and do all of that. Literally, I've gotten the greatest relationships from actually offering myself first, building the relationship without expecting anything. And then to close everything else, also what I wish I knew, and that's why we are called No-Valo, is that fear is part of the process. The same way that suffering is part of the process, fear is part of the process. So the moment you are feeling the fear, the moment you feel like, oh, I can't do this, the more you feel like, oh, do I really deserve this? The more you feel like, should I really be there? That's when you know that you are at the right spot. And fear being part of the process, what I also really, I'm going to stop now. This is the last one, but that was such a beautiful question, Nadine. I'm definitely going to stop now. But then what I also wish I knew is what I also learned recently, which is the fact that when it comes to your life, you have third of your life being amazing. You have third of your life just being okay. And then you have third of your life being very, very bad, where there are challenges. You feel like, oh, I'll never make it, and everything is bad, and relationships, everything is terrible. So the moment that you realize that your life is like that, you are having the best moments, the okay moments, and the worst ones, that's when you know that it is okay, because it's part of life. Because most people just want to ride with the okay, but the okay keeps you within the comfort zone, and you never grow to be who you really were meant to be, right? So yeah, Nidhi, thank you for such a beautiful question. I could have gone for an hour.
Okay, Thomas, is here noted. You can lay a question.
Okay, thanks. As we are speaking about the journey to CA, I have a question here. How is it impactful to do your articles within the auditing firm, and even the size of the firm, like of the entity or the company? How is it impactful during a journey to take articles on?
Beautiful question, Thokozisi. Because now we have different things, right? You can do your articles at ShopRite, you can do your articles at, Liberty, at a bank, everywhere, other than in the past where it was mainly audit, and then the other one, it was a smaller, group of the top firms, right? What I'll say is that what we all have to remember is that all the training firms are regulated by SAICA, right? So what it means is that even if you go to the smallest of firms, right? Smallest of firms, like let's say you go into Betty and Zanele Inc. and no one even knows about it, you are still in safe hands because it is regulated by SAICA, right? But then beyond that, it goes back to what I said earlier on when we're speaking about career planning and job seeking strategy. How you choose your training firm, it's all about looking beyond the training and saying, which opportunities would I like to be exposed to beyond the training? That's how you choose the firm, right? So, for example, if beyond the training, beyond qualification, you see yourself working overseas a lot, then you need that. It's a non-negotiable. If you really want to work overseas, then you have to be working for the top 10 audit firms. You have to be within the top 10 audit firms that have a global presence. Because if they don't have the global presence, someone in another country, they'll be asking, what is Zanele and Betty Incorporated? No, we don't want you. What did you do at Zanele and Betty Incorporated, right? So if you want international exposure, look into the top 10 audit firms that have the global presence. And then when it comes to the type of training that you're going to have as well, also look into the type of person you would like to be. So for example, when it comes to the bigger audit firms, you are put already into sectors, right? It's either you're in financial services, you're into mining, or all of these things. And then when it comes to the medium-sized firms that are still within the top 10, most of the times you are more of a generalist, where yes, they'll give you even listed funds, they'll give you everything else, but you can tap into the different industries. You are not specialized from the get-go. So how you choose, if you are within that audit space, how you choose is this is where you should be asking yourself, do I want to be in a firm whereby afterwards I want to be regarded more of like a generalist because I've audited almost every other industry? or do I want to be seen as a specialist within a certain industry? And that's why I'm going to a bigger firm and I would like to be in this sector so that already I can start making a name for myself there. And then when it comes to whether you should be going for the other ones, which is like the banks, the ShopRites, and all of that, if you are into the whole investment banking, everything that is within that corporate investment space and all of that, then definitely you can start from the get-go because this is the environment that I want to be. Maybe I want to be in VC and all of these things. It's good to already start there and build the relationships. And then if you're looking into maybe like FMCG and you want to be an FM and all of that, you see, that's when you go with the ShopRite and everything else. So I made a lot of examples, but those examples was to say it starts with beyond qualifying. Where do you see your life? Which type of opportunities you would like? And then that you can actually work back. So I did my articles at Mazars, and how I chose Mazars is that I wanted to be more of a generalist at the beginning in audit. So I chose a company that is part of the top 10 because it has a global presence and I wanted international exposure. So it was still part of the top 10, but then at the same time, I was not blocked into a sector. I had listed firms in manufacturing. I literally had almost every industry. And also I was able to take on more responsibilities from the beginning. So within the big four, usually you're an AIC from the third year, but then in a medium-sized firm, you can be an auditor in charge even from second year. And I appreciated that. And within the bigger firms, sometimes you don't get to audit things like tax and all of that. But then within the medium and smaller firms, you go all in because they're not depending so much on other departments as well. So yeah, decide what you want at the end, the opportunities you want, and that should work. Does that answer you, Tokozisi?
Yes, as a answered. Thank you.
I saw a hand from Nombuso. Nombuso, do you still want to ask? Because I saw you raise your hand and you put it back.
Yes, actually, I have a question, Zanele. So I am currently doing my articles, but it's 5-year articles because I'm still completing my degree. Like I'll do my CTA in 2026, right? So you just mentioned that if you see yourself working overseas, there's certain companies that you have to target. So I'm in a very small accounting firm, and the firm that I'm in, I'm doing like external audits. So I do audits, and currently I do enjoy audits. But what I've realized at work, the environment is cool, it's not toxic, but when I arrive at work, I was shocked that there is no black manager, there is no black partner. There's, it's only the trainees and just 5% of the trainees that are black, you know. So obviously we would like to have the exposure. They do give us the exposure and the experience is good. But now the problem is the reason why I decided to join ABASA at UNISA is because I wanted to build the relationship and just social connect with people as well. Because I was like, at work, the only thing that we do is welcoming the new trainees and then the year-end function. That's it. There is no awards, whether you don't know. Like I felt it when you said your first year and second year of your articles, you felt like I'm dumb, I'm not doing enough, But as I'm studying and now doing auditing practical, it make a lot of sense. And I would like to know, if let's say, for example, I want to go to BDO or Deloitte, just breach within, because my contract is 5 years. I know that if you have CTA, it's 3 years, normally 3 years. So does it sabotage your contract, or what are the regulations, terms and conditions to do it, So I would like, is it advisable? Is it a wise decision to do it? So that is that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nombuso. I think to answer the question directly before I add on is yes, SAICA does allow you to transition within firms and you will qualify for your RPL. And I've seen this before. So this is such a great question, because I've seen it even with my coachees, where people like they skip, they go to another company, and then when they get to that other bigger company, then they're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't have all the documents, I don't have everything that I need for my RPL to be recognized by SAICA so that I can just move forward within my training. So the advice I would give you there is already find out what would be needed for your RPL if you had to move anywhere else, so that you can literally, wherever you stopped, you can continue instead of starting again from first year. Because if you already know what would be needed, then as and when you are looking for other opportunities, you will gather all of that, and you will know for sure that when you secure that opportunity, it's not actually changing much. Even if they give you a penalty, because there are instances where they'll give you like a 6 months penalty, which has been like a norm, where they take you 6 months back so that you also adapt them. But then just know that at least the worst that can happen is only a 6 months penalty, and you have all the documentation and everything that has to do with like your your assessments, those assessments that you're doing all the time. So that's where you'd start. You need like a proper file, hey? Because I usually speak with a lot of coachees that are struggling with the RPL because they moved to a bigger firm, but then they don't have all of those things. Like you're saying, you say, oh, we don't have awards, we don't have this, we don't have this. Even like 2 weeks ago, I had a trainee that was saying, I didn't even get feedback from the smaller firm. I didn't get this, I didn't get this. So now for my RPL, they're asking for all of these things and I don't know how to produce them. So yeah, that would definitely be something to consider. And then the other thing that I would also say can help you, Nombuso, if you're interested in international opportunities, is that already follow companies such as your Makosis, your Sapros, all of those, because cross country, all of those companies that usually give opportunities to people who didn't even have the Big Four or the Big 10 exposure. Usually just because you were in audit, then usually your Sapros, your Makosis, your cross country, they do give you opportunities. So start building the relationships, start reaching out to those recruiters and already asking them now that if I were to stay in such a company, can I get the opportunity? And in order for me to get the opportunity quicker, what would I need and what would I need to show? And then they can guide you. Happiness, Nombuso?
Thank you so much, Happiness. Clear.
Awesome.
Okay.